So good morning. This is the beginning of a very, very special project. I'm thrilled to be in this position. This is the Debbie litter. You'll hear me. I'm going to create a training series about these guys, and today is our first training session with them. These puppies are 9 weeks old. They belong to Debbie Reed, Black Alder Ranch, and she has entrusted them to me for the next few months. They will have pen hip testing done on the end of October, so at 4 months. And then they will start going to their new homes. Maybe some of them will be here with me through the spring. So I will have several months to work with these puppies and learn from these puppies. And it's a great opportunity for me. It's a great opportunity for the puppies. And it's a real opportunity for the lucky people that have purchased these pups. And I'm not going to be talking about puppy sales. That's not what I do. I'm talking about training with this series. So if you have any questions about anything like that, reach out to Debbie directly. So the way that I raise puppies, I use clicker training. Clicker training is more appropriately termed marker training. And I'm going to just very briefly describe what that means to me. So I do well thinking of analogies. If you think of having a camera and you take a snapshot, that instant of time that is in the snapshot is the focus of that snapshot. With marker training, marking, making a sound, a novel sound in the environment that is connected with that instant that behavior happened, and think about it as a snapshot. And then you follow it up with reinforcement, which is something that the puppy likes. So it may be baked chicken. We're going to try that. It may be hot dogs. We're going to try that. The first thing I'm going to do is figure out what these puppies find reinforcing, because it isn't up to me, it's up to the pups. And if I mark and reinforce, and those things need to be in pretty tight order so that the dog connects the two, I can create a probability that that behavior will happen more often because I marked and reinforced it. It won't necessarily mean that the puppy does that behavior to get the mark and reinforcement, but it makes it a behavior that has kind of a happy history to it. It also gives me a way to build the puppy's confidence. If I teach puppies about marker training and then I take them into a situation that's scary for them, if I mark and reinforce some simple behavior that they have history of being marked and trained with, their mind goes right back into this happy place where that was a good sound and it was a cool thing, and they can handle a new situation better. So it's a really, really valuable tool. I absolutely believe in it. Let's see here. And I have notes. I never make notes, but today I'm not going to wing it. Today I'm going to try to follow my plan. So why to mark a behavior? So that I can make it happen more often, so that I can shape behavior. So what a puppy's going to do on its own, he's going to do on its own. If I start marking and reinforcing things and they become more valuable to the dog than other things, he may do more of those. So in that way, I am shaping their behavior. I'm creating a probability of behavior. The things that I like from a pup are more likely to happen more often because I've built a reinforcement history to it. So it's a probability. So I do not have to just stand around and wait for a dog to make a decision and then click and pay them for that. I can create a likelihood that they'll give me something else that I wanted and kind of create a path, go down a path with them. And that's going to be valuable for the rest of their lives in all kinds of circumstances. And it looks silly and easy, and these are just puppies that are playing, but I'll tell you what, the foundation starts right here, and this work that we'll be doing this morning in front of this camera with these puppies is the beginning building block for the rest of their lives. I cannot overstate how valuable it is to them and how easy it is, honestly, and you'll see that in the video. Part of what we're going to be doing is building clicker dogs. And these dogs have been with Debbie and her son Brandon and her daughter, and they've been doing a lot of training work with them. I don't know if they've been using a clicker to do that training. I know that the puppies have been exposed to lots of new things because they're very brave. When we brought them home yesterday, we brought them home in the car, and we got here and it was the end of 10 hours worth of travel for these guys. And instead of slinking around in the barn and being worried about it, they barked and they yelled threats and they partied and they ran around and they ate really well. So whatever Debbie did with them on her ranch created puppies that are ready to step in with me and go forward really well. And so I don't have to know what she did with them, because I can read the puppies and I know that whatever she did was what they needed, and it put them in a position to be bold, brave explorers and to learn from me now. So she did her work, the genetics, the training, they come to me, I do my work. The owners of these puppies are working on their own educations. Then when the puppies go with them, Debbie and I stay involved and continue to instruct with those owners and stay on as support. And that will create, ultimately, adult dogs that are confident and easy to live with, and owners that understand how their dogs think and how to support them. And they will not become part of the 30% of failed LGDs in this country. They will not lose their lives, because we're not going to let that happen. And that happens through training of the pups and education of the owners, and those are equal pieces. Owners don't get to sit back and wait for puppies to be trained. Owners have to work as fast as the puppies, and I'll tell you what, that's hard to do, because puppies learn all the time. We need to teach these dogs that a clicker means something. They don't know that. So eye contact is something that I will pay for. Sitting on the ground in front of me is something that I will pay for, and by pay I mean mark and reinforce. A puppy that walks next to me, I'll pay. I want LGDs to be up and moving. I don't need them to sit, stay, come down. I'm not big on those things. Those are not valuable tools for their lives out in a pasture defending against mountain lions. And so the things that I want to create a probability of more of are things that are valuable tools to an LGD, not to a pet dog. This is not parlor tricks. This is not make me happy by doing something that I verbally ask you to do. That's not how it goes with me with puppies. Peripherally, they end up giving me a lot of those behaviors, but they do it because I created a probability that they would, not because I told them they had to. And that's a very big difference with these dogs. So maybe they know what the clicker means, maybe it doesn't. You're going to watch live in front of us them figuring it out. Even if they know about a clicker, they don't know about me. They don't know about Olga. Olga is my helper today. Olga will end up with one of these puppies, we hope. If she chooses to take a puppy, it's her puppy. That's how that goes. So I will pick a behavior that I like. I will click and I will pay, and I'll do that a few times. And if you watch the whole litter of puppies, you'll start to see puppies maybe not even close to me that hear the sound and stop what they're doing and look towards the sound, because they've learned that the sound is associated with chicken or whatever else I have. So that's how you know that puppies have become aware that there is a task, that there is a game to be had, that their behavior can make chicken show up, that it's associated with the people that are here and the sound that they hear, and they don't know any of that yet. So we're going to be teaching that in real time this morning right in front of the camera, and you'll be amazed at how quickly they figure that out. How does it work, clicking a litter of puppies? It's so much easier than you think it is. So I've got a whole pack of puppies in front of me, and I have eye contact with one pup. That pup is connected to me. I call it string training, and there's a blog post about it, and I will include it somewhere, or you should look it up. But it is a connection, an emotional connection I have with a pup in that circumstance. So whatever it is, it's usually eye contact, that the puppy is aware that I'm focused on that puppy. I click and I pay that puppy. The other puppies that are in the area, anybody that wants to be paid gets paid. So I will often start with a fistful of treats. I'll click and pay somebody, and then I'll pay everybody else that I can reach. And then I'll click and pay somebody and pay everybody else that I can reach. And I do that rapid fire, like 5 times in 20 seconds. I mean, really fast. And the point of that is that the puppy that I marked and reinforced is getting paid for that specific behavior, but the other puppies are being reinforced for choosing to be near enough to be a part of the game. If we were out in a big pasture, they could leave. So they are aware that there's a game, so they're learning from that. They're learning a positive emotional response to a training opportunity. So instead of learning stress, oh gosh, there's the trainer, they're learning trainer shows up, click happens, everything in the world that is wonderful happens. They're learning that if one of them gets paid, everybody gets paid, so there is no competition among the litter. There's no resource guarding. Resources are plentiful. It's a promise, it's a guarantee. So if somebody gets paid, everybody gets paid. So nobody has to worry about trying to protect something that they might lose, because if they're here, they get paid, and that's a rule for the rest of anytime I'm working with one pup or any dog. If there's another dog there, every dog there gets paid, and that makes sure that nobody feels competitive about things. The only rule in this game, so if you think about clicker training and you think about that you're going to mark a specific behavior and going to pay for a specific behavior, timing is inherent to that. You know, there's a little bit of right and wrong in a person's head about that, especially like pet dog training. With these dogs, the biggest thing that I'm teaching them is that having a training opportunity around a human is a great thing. So the only way to screw this up is to not follow that click with payment, and to make a puppy unhappy, uneasy, stressed, tense, whatever. And that may be that we created that situation by staring at a puppy, or it may be that one of the puppies loses confidence for some reason. Doesn't matter. In looking at the population, I want everybody, they can be asleep, but they need to be smiling. They need to not be stressed. And so if they're stressed, I need to stop whatever my plan was and do whatever I need to make sure that that puppy looks tall and happy and loose and confident, and that may include ending the session. Puppies get to decide how long a session is. So that's the only rule, is that whatever experience the puppies have with us, with the clicker and the treats, is a good one. That's it. And the click is a promise. The click is your word. That sound happens, you pay. Doesn't matter if you made a mistake, doesn't matter what the story in your head is. You click, you pay. It is a promise to the dogs. So I am going to turn off the camera now, and we are going to move the puppies, and we're going to do a training session with them. So here's the deal with this. They arrived last night into about a 16 by 30 stall with this little run off of it. So this is all the real estate that they have managed, and real estate matters to LGDs. So they think they own this. You can see them moving around like they rule the world, which is exactly what we want them to believe. There's a gate out of this stall and into this alleyway behind me. We are going to open the gate and offer them the opportunity to go through it and go outside. If they're ready for that, they'll walk through the gate. If not, they will look at the open gate and they'll go back and do something else that feels safe. So we may end up back here working with them and doing clicker stuff. We may end up going out. That is entirely up to them. One of the things that I'm going to introduce this morning, inherent in all of this, is the first barrier challenge that I will give them. I want to raise LGDs that solve puzzles. So I want to avoid puppies that encounter a barrier or a problem and become frustrated by it. I want them to encounter a barrier or a problem and see it as a puzzle and figure out how to solve it. So using space as a reinforcer for a dog, that it's cool that a gate opens and they get to go somewhere new, is reinforcing if they can go over the barrier, but the barrier's in the way. So they get the choice about whether they don't want to take on the new challenge, they don't want to go in the new area, but if they want to go in the new area, they have to figure out how to get over the barrier. And that is one of the first steps in raising an LGD that doesn't get frustrated and bark, that doesn't get scared, that doesn't get worried about new situations, that sees something new that's in their way and figures out how to make it work, how to get what they want anyway. And it starts with these tiny little building blocks, and Debbie's already been doing barrier challenges with them at home. So things to pay for. We're going to, if they go out in the lane, well, wherever they go, we have baked chicken in pouches. If you're doing the foundations course or you're getting instruction about clicker training, it will say that your clicker hand doesn't move, your treat hand doesn't move. Click happens, you reach in your pouch, you get a treat, and you reinforce the dog. Puppies do not have that kind of patience. You do not have that kind of time. So the way that I work with a group of dogs, or rapid fire training, which has to happen with LGDs because they lose interest really fast and go back to work because their real job is working. The real job is not me. So we're going to start with a fistful of chicken. We're going to mark and pay whoever, and then we're going to feed it out and pay everybody. Stand up, mark for something else, feed it out, pay everybody. When we run out of chicken in our hand, that's going to be the end of the session. We're going to walk off in a happy way, play with the puppies or leave or whatever. If they seem ready for more, we'll reload with another fistful, but that's how that's going to go. Oh, there was some piece of that I forgot to say. Don't know what it was. Oh, so LGDs need different skills than pet dogs do. So this is where I start building kind of my, I don't want to say controls, but my handles for the dog, my ability to ask the dog for things later in his life. So the things that are valuable to me with an LGD is that he makes eye contact with me first before anything else. I feel like if I have a dog's eyes, I have his brain, and it starts right here. And if I have trained a dog that if they look in my eyes, they'll be reinforced for it, I can work with dogs that are 50 feet away in a field. I can say something, they look up at me, I tell them how wonderful, they wag their tail, and I go on. That's actually a piece of training. So eye contact is a really, really big deal. Being these puppies will probably mand. They'll sit in front of us. A mand is an offered sit. It's not something that is asked for. It is something that the puppy does to request some attention from the person. They either want the person to stop and put their hands on them, or they want something from the person. And if you teach a puppy that if he sits in front of you and looks into your eyes, you will absolutely always give him something cool, like put your hands on him and tell him he's wonderful and how cute you are, and who could resist touching a puppy anyway. They will all learn that the way to get a person's attention is to just come and sit in front of them. So they don't have to bite clothes, they don't have to put feet on people, they don't have to do any of the puppy language stuff, because we're going to teach them to be operant. We're going to teach them that if they choose to behave with us in this way, they can manipulate us into giving them chicken, or touching them, or petting them, or whatever. So anybody that sits and is looking at us, even if they're not close to us, they're going to get marked and reinforced for that. I want puppies to move. I want LGDs that are working are moving. They're not sitting cutely in front of an owner. They're working. So pet dog people, myself included, reinforce puppies that orient back to an owner, because that's a safety, that's a good skill for a pet dog to have. I like puppies to orient back to me, but LGDs, I want them to leave. So very early on, I mark and reinforce them for leaving. So if you mark and reinforce, the click will stop the behavior, the puppy will come and get a reinforcement. So if he's leaving and I mark him, he's going to stop, right? Unless I do this, right? So what I do in that case, like if a puppy comes and he mans in front of me, and then he looks and he turns and he walks away, the second that foot moves, I'm going to mark that behavior, and I'm going to walk next to him, and I'm pay him while he's walking, and I'm going to pay everybody else, and I want to walk around. I'm teaching the dogs that they can be actively engaged in the environment and moving and busy and being fast puppies, and that I still like that. They don't have to stop and just be still and be polite and all that stuff. That's not something that I value in an LGD, because he needs to feel powerful in his environment, and he needs to know how to move around and how to work perimeters and all that. So I create that partnership, that moving partnership with them by marking and reinforcing them for leaving and walking with them a little bit. Can you think of anything else that we would mark and reinforce for right now, this very first time?
I think it's enough.
I think that's it. So we're going to start with that. I'm going to turn the camera off, and we'll pick